Hello everyone, it is that time of night. It's time for the Writing Theory live stream. Let's go! Hello everyone, hello! I see you in chat, Pilot Alex Watchman, KD Phantom. I never know how to pronounce this. Atariel. Kiara, Lilith, Just Guy, J-Beard, welcome. Oddrun Green, welcome back. Welcome back, lots of familiar names. Margot, hello, welcome. I got something fun planned for us today, but I do see something I need to fix on my camera. So, 1 second. Oh, we are so back. We are so back. Hello, Katie. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a good night. Oh man, you know what? I just got a good feeling about the live stream today. I just got a good feeling. I have a feeling that we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be productive. Those of us who are writing are gonna hit those word counts. You know that kind of feeling? That's what I'm feeling. Oh man, it's also just another good day for writing because over here we just had another like rainy, dreary day. That kind of weather where it's like, what else can you do? What else can you do but like want to sit down and do some writing? Pilot Alex Watchman says, I'm not even doing a full Novella November. But these streams are still so fun, for real. Shout out. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Drought on the East Coast, not in Wisconsin. Definitely not in the fall. If we're having this weather right now that we're having with like the rain wanting to come down, in 3 weeks time it's all gonna be snow. Last year we had like a no snow kind of year. There was like 3 or 4 days where we had like any snow that came down and stuck over the winter, which is very weird because the year before that in like early November we had 18 inches of snow and that never melted. So we ended up with like 3.5 feet of snow. So the snow would go almost up to your hips. So you never know what's gonna happen. Alex, yes, I did see your post on the Discord, and I'm glad you're still able to find, time to come join us and have fun, but also to be productive on your own stuff that you're working on. So, these streams can be multi-purposed. That's dope. All right, so what do we got planned for the start of the stream? Well, Tori, hello, new to the channel. Looking forward to co-writing tonight. Welcome. Glad you're able to join us. It's pretty casual. It's pretty laid back. It's got some lo-fi music. I hope you have a good time. Should be a good time all around. I was thinking today, I like to do things like tier lists when it comes to like starting the stream. I think those are fun. I think most people have a pretty good time, but there's one downside to the tier list. And it's that sometimes I get sucked into them and we do them for 30 minutes, and that is not productive. So I made us a new game, and I need your help to play it. Let me share my screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I made a new game. It is called Reread, Recommend, and Retire. You may have heard of other games kind of like this. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, and don't say them in chat. It might be like something, marry, kill kind of vibe. Like, oh, I can't remember the name of that. Anyways, moving on. Let me tell you about this game I made. See, Reread, Recommend, and Retire has 3 very simple rules. You're going to be presented with 3 books, and you're going to have to make a decision. One of those books you can mark as reread, and it is the only book you're allowed to read for the rest of your life. The second book, hello Ethereal, hello Millennium Storyteller, welcome. The second book, or a book, will also have to go into the second category, I should say, recommend. It is the only book you can suggest to other people when they ask. Doesn't matter what their tastes are. Doesn't matter if they say they're looking for a mystery. If you choose this book and put it in the recommend section, that's the only thing you can suggest. And you have to tell them about it, and you have to believe that they're going to love it. And then lastly, you can retire a book. And in a puff of magic, that book is erased from history. Some of these decisions are going to be kind of tough. If they never existed, what would everything look like nowadays? Let's find out. Because I need your help in understanding, reread, recommend, and retire between Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones, and the Chronicles of Narnia by the great C.S. Lewis. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. Convince me what should be marked as the only book you can read for the rest of your life, the only book you can recommend to others, and the book that should have never existed. Oh man. If the Lord of the Rings never existed, would either of these other books have? Now that's a hot take, because I think C.S. Lewis was like writing at the same time. Which one of these books do you retire and never have existed? Justin says reread Narnia. Interesting. That's the book you want to, I guess in this case, that would be the whole series. You want to read through over and over again. Recommend Game of Thrones. Retire Lord of the Rings. What? Margaret says, I've read none of these and I've only seen a little bit of the film TV series. Oh dear. I still need an answer. Katie says, reread Narnia, recommend Lord of the Rings, retire Game of Thrones. And Justin says, I don't even like Narnia. Reread Narnia, recommend Lord of the Rings. I am shocked. I am shocked that Narnia is getting the clear pass for being the book to be reread for the rest of your life. It is almost unanimous. In fact, it looks like the only question we have is, do we purge Game of Thrones or do we purge Lord of the Rings? And that means if you purge Lord of the Rings, if you retire Lord of the Rings, you retire the movies. And if you retire the books of Game of Thrones, you retire the show. Even if you hated the last season. I mean, come on. That was some good TV. Katie says, fun fact, C.S. Lewis became one of the most famous modern Christian theologians. He came from his faith through his friendship with Tolkien. I didn't know that. C.S. Lewis also the, he has another kind of more philosophical book that he wrote. It's about like conversations with the devil. That was always such a cool concept from someone who was so philosophical and like approached his religion with academic approaches. I think it's so cool. Didn't Lord of the Rings define majority of the fantasy genre in general? Can we even that's what I'm saying. That's a Screw Tape Letters. That was it, yeah. You know, the thing is, I'm looking back here, I see one. Ethereal says reread Lord of the Rings, so it's got that going for it. Recommend Lord of the Rings. See a recommend Lord of the Rings. Recommend, you know what? I think consensus is Game of Thrones. Nice knowing ya. Nice knowing ya. I'm a little shocked, but I don't totally disagree. Of course, Lord of the Rings is incredibly like influential. It legitimately puts me to sleep when I read it. It's like having a fairy tale read to you as a child. Like I'm opening it up, I'm reading it, oh, here's a whole song. This whole thing feels like a fairy tale. It feels like poetry, and then I'm out. But you know what? It's still pretty good. I feel like this is a totally fair setup. Now, here's the deal, though. This was the easy mode. This was easy mode. Let's go to our next one. I decided we needed to look at some science fiction. And I tried to pick books that most everyone would at least be familiar with. It's kind of hard to say I'm going to pick 3 books that everyone in chat will have read. But here, now I have to ask you. Ender's Game, a personal favorite of mine. Dune, or 1984? 1984. You know, 1984 is such an influential story in the terms of like portraying politics through fiction. Is it more fun to read than Ender's Game? Pfft, I mean, come on. I mean, come on. Stray Bubble, welcome, welcome. I mean, what do you say, you know? Do you choose to read Ender's Game as the only book you can read the rest of your life? Or do you recommend it? Or do you retire it? We got reread Dune. Now, here's the good thing is you kind of unlock the entire series of Dune. But that being said, if you choose to reread Ender's Game, like you kind of are unlocking two entirely different series. If you don't know what I'm talking about. Corby, welcome, welcome. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Ender's Game is sort of the linchpin of two different series that kind of like branch out. Lila says, banish Ender's Game. Reread Ender's Game. Recommend Dune. Recommend 1984. Reread Dune. Oh my god, it's all over the place. All over the place. Reread Ender's Game. Reread Dune. Reread Dune. Reread Ender's Game. Oh, you know what? It could go either way. Ender's Game sequels are wild. You have the Shadow series that follows Bean as the world goes through war and peace, as the nations split apart and form alliances and come back together, and war is waged on a global scale. And then you have the Ender series that takes off to another part of the galaxy to bring back to life this. No spoilers. No spoilers. Oh, close one. Reread Dune, recommend 1984. Dune, Ender's Game, 1984. I think trash for the rest of the Dune series. You know, I'm gonna say it looks like most people are putting Dune in the reread. Now, look, if you haven't explored what actually happens in those later Dune books, go have a ball on Wikipedia, because it is by far the most crazy thing you can once humans and the worms become hybrids of each other and live for 1,000,000 years and become gods. Dude, go just look at the Wikipedia synopsis. It's insane. Isabel, I think you're in the minority here for rereading 1984. All right, you know, this one could go either way. In a brief look over here, it looks like Dune and Ender's Game, minus Lilith saying banish Ender's Game. Oh, you know, Katie says retire. Woo, this one's a tough one. If I were to choose, I would choose Ender's Game in the recommend. But this isn't me. This isn't me. Where does it go? 1984 inspired so much dystopia. You're right. You're right. The author had to, theorist says the author had to be smoking. That Frank Herbert, I'm telling you, he was wild. Banish Ender's Game. You know what? It hates me. Wait, it hates me. I hate it. Wait, I don't hate it. What am I saying? I hate to be the one to do it. Maybe that's the more the better way to phrase it. I think this is our set. This is our set. For those still just joining us, we're playing reread, recommend, retire. You have to choose one book that you would be the only book you could keep reading. The only book you could read for the rest of your days. Recommend is the book that you would have to recommend wholeheartedly to everyone around you when they ask, and then one book to completely cast a spell and have it disappear from our world. Justin, I'm with you. I'm with you. Ender's Game was the first book that I read that made me be like, oh my God, books are sick. And look where we are now. Look where we are now. All right. So these are some classes. These are sci-fi. We're still kind of in like genre fiction. Let's make it a little bit more like popular, right? Let's choose books that are a little bit more popular. How about the YA dystopian trend that shook the world and the entire literary landscape? The Hunger Games, Maze Runner, and Divergent. Which one do you reread over and over again? Which one will you recommend to all those around you? And which one do you banish? Do you purge? Do you retire? Now, I have not read all these books. I never read Divergent. But I picked up the first Hunger Games book off the shelf in like Florida, like the first month that it came out. And I read it and I was like, hey, that was pretty good. I put it down. Years later, I find out it's a huge series and they're making movies and everyone loves Catching Fire. Maze Runner, I think I like better. Hot take, Maze Runner, and even the movie, the Maze Runner movie, I don't know if that one's better than the Hunger Games movie. That might be a hot take. The Hunger Games movie is pretty good. I agree. We got reread Divergent, reread Hunger Games, recommend Maze Runner, retire Divergent. J Beer says if you recommend one, can you read it? You cannot. I know. I don't make the rules. Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Divergent. Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent. Hunger Games, Maze Runner. Oh, so Katie, the first one to say, reread Divergent. And Katie will die on that hill. Reread, recommend Divergent, retire Maze Runner. Retire all three. Boo! 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 Come on, have some fun. I like the protagonist in Hunger Games more in Hunger Games than Divergent. That's fair. You know, this was such a weird era of young adult literature. Like, it was like such a trend. Such a vibe. Such a vibe. The last book in the Maze Runner series killed the love of the series for me. I definitely read the first two. So that would be Maze Runner and the Scorch Trials. Is that right? Or is it called Scorch Runner? Death Trials, wasn't that also one? I think I only read the first two. Dylan O'Brien in the Maze Runner movies. Fantastic casting. All right, I think the general consensus, Katie, as much as I hate to be the one to bring it to you, I think Divergent is probably in the retire category. I know. I don't make the rules. I know. Oh, man. I'm seeing lots of retire Divergent. Yeah, I feel ya. Is it Ulium? That's how you pronounce it. I feel ya. I was there's a draw to Stephen King, even at the young age. It happens. Get Theory says down with Divergent. I think it looks like just a cursory look through the chat. I'm seeing Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Hunger Games. Katie got rid of Hunger Games. You know what? Because Katie stuck Maze Runner in recommended, brought it up to the top. Maze Runner might be The actual reread. Hunger Games. Maze Runner. Meaning Katie brings down Hunger Games into recommend. Oof. Oof. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. You know, there's similarities in all these books. I felt like Maze Runner was... I don't know. Here's the thing. Hunger Games, you know, really caught something with the Battle Royale style storytelling. That's a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun. Maze Runner, a little bit more of a traditional story of just like, this is like an interesting setup and world. And like, you know, the first one was like, what's the mystery of the maze, right? And then the second one was like, it's really hot out here. And there's zombies. Hunger Games had the political side. Ooh. Big fan of those Battle Royale type stories. I don't know, man. They just like, they capture you. All right. We feel good about it. We feel good about it. We got some divergent stands in the chat. Yeah, hooligans. All right. I can't remember how many more of these I have. I saved the very last one. I did something crazy, but I don't think we're there yet. Let me peek ahead here. Let's go back to our youth with Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, who missed me a little bit. That was a little bit, you know, after my time, and a series of unfortunate events, who also was a little bit before when I was like really getting on the trends. Stray Bubble coming right out and saying, retire Harry Potter. Bold. Bold. Katie says, how can he make me choose? You know what? We all need these trials and tribulations in our lives. Justin just reaping chaos in the chat. I just finished the Percy books and never read the last. Oh, Margot. Here's the thing. I picked up the first... I guess it's The Lightning Thief. I picked up The Lightning Thief on audiobook to do some research because I wanted to write a book sort of like for that rough kind of like age group, that like middle grade, upper middle grade. And I didn't get to finish it. I had it like rented from the library. But I liked, you know what? I liked what I was hearing. I imagine, and this is me guessing, I imagine that the Percy Jackson series, and please tell me if I'm right or not, the Percy Jackson series grows up with the reader in the same way that Harry Potter did. Harry Potter starts out as like a middle grade style book. Like there's like a dark moment, you know, it's like, but it's mostly just like, wow, this is crazy. And ooh, the evil bad guy. But as the books go on, they grow up with the reader. Katie says, yes, Percy goes to college and everything. I love that. That's so cool. Does the Percy series also include the Heroes of Olympus? I mean, you tell me. If the Lightning Thief was retired and never existed, I don't know if Rick Riordan would have wrote the other series. Oof. Oof. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. Jay Swaller says, retire Percy, recommend unfortunate, read Harry. Series, we got reread a series of unfortunate events, recommend Percy, retire Harry Potter. And this is a tough one. Reread Percy, recommend Harry Potter. It's all over the place. Reread series of unfortunate events is from Ethereal. Reread series of unfortunate events, retire Percy. Reread series of unfortunate events, recommend Percy. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm seeing a lacking of Harry Potter at the top. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, when I'm scrolling through the chat here, I think I see series of unfortunate events at the top. Oh, and then Millennium Storyteller comes in and just crushes it all. I wanted to do a video essay on a series of unfortunate events, because there is one thing that series does better than any book. And so I bought the entire series, started reading through it, got pulled into a different direction for a video, but I still want to do it. I think there is no better book that does atmosphere like a series of unfortunate events. And now what I'm talking about is every single sentence of, I can only vouch for the first book, even though I've read the first like 3 or 4. Every single sentence is drenched with the narrator's personality. All the locations are named along this like specific vibe, right? We have like, yes, like a series of unfortunate events, like this gray atmosphere. Everything's so dreary. We get the reptile room. Then we get the, I don't know what it's called, the sad sawmill or something like that. The morose mill. I can't remember what it's called. But the thing is, like, every single sentence reminds you of this crazy world that's been built. That's astounding. It looks like everyone's divided. I'm seeing Harry Potter at the end. I'm seeing Harry Potter in the middle. I think... I think I'm coming in here to be to put down the hammer. Coming in here to put down the hammer. Harry Potter retired. There's a new king. Rise, my king, the lightning thief. Karina, we were glad we had you while we did. The boy who retired. Yes, Isabel. I love it. Dara says, would Percy Jackson exist without Harry Potter? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Could go either way. I know Rick Riordan was a pretty prolific author even before these books. I feel like I read a couple books that had his name on them before this. I don't know. I mean, would he have written them still? Or would they just have not been as popular? I would like to read the Percy Jackson books. But also, oh gosh, I haven't even told you. I haven't even told you all. I have terrible news. I haven't even read all the Harry Potter books. In fact, I haven't read all the books in any of these series. Oh, canceled! Cancel him! I know. Poser. An imposter amongst us. It's us. All right. There's more, though. I think this next one's the last one. There's more. And if you haven't heard of any of these books, my challenge to you is to not look them up. And I think it's, hold on, let me peek ahead. Let me peek ahead, see here. Okay, no, we got one more before the crazy one. Oh, look who it is. It's 50 Shades of Grey. It's Twilight, and it's A Court of Thorns and Roses. Oh, man. We got some decisions to make. Now, you have to realize these books have to go into each different category, which means there has to be one that you choose to reread for the rest of your life. And it's the only book you can read. And one of these books, you have to say, oh, you're looking for a heartfelt story with great characters and a plot that makes like a very grounded story. I have the perfect book for you. Oh, my 7-year-old niece Oh, you're looking for a new book? I have a book that's going to set you on the path to reading Nirvana. They have to go in each category. Reread Court of Thorns and Roses. We say reread and recommend Court of Thorns. You gotta choose. Donate Twilight. That's fair. That's fair. You gotta choose. Reread and recommend. I see we got some Sarah J. Maas fans. Okay. Now I'm just asking. So do not shoot the messenger. This is an innocent question. And no one can get mad. Following this question, I just need to know, okay? I just need to know. Can we all agree, before I ask my question, that this is a safe area and no one's gonna get in trouble for any things that they might say for this question? We're all on the same page. If you are in this chat, you have agreed to the terms and conditions for me to ask my question as just an innocent bystander who just wants to know, are Sarah J. Maas fans called mass holes or not? I just need to know. Because I need to know whether or not I can say it or if I shouldn't say it. That's it. That's it. Only if they're from Massachusetts. You need to be a fan to say it. That's fair. Hey, you know what? And this is why we established the boundaries that we were all safe in. So that question could be asked. Okay, back to the rules here. Okay. So, here's the deal. It is looking like Court of Thorns and Roses by far reread. Takes top spot. Even if you say you would reread and recommend it, it can only go one place. All right, that one's an easy. I can see it. I get it. My wife would 100% agree. That's how it is out of these three. And you know what? I think I can get it. I think I get it. Isabel says, if Twilight can't be in the reread, then I choose recommend. I see another recommend Twilight. Odd Run says retire Twilight. Meaning Odd Run wants to recommend 50 Shades of Grey to all friends and family. Twilight recommend. I can't recommend anything but Twilight to someone. That's right, no matter what they say. I think consensus pretty clear. 50 Shades of Grey goes to retire. Twilight goes to recommend. Are we happy? Do we feel strong about this? Katie, I always heard that 50 Shades of Grey was originally a Twilight fanfic. Now, I think that's one of those rumors where, like, you know, like, there is a very big difference between I don't know. There seems to be a pretty big difference between the content between the two. But, you know, Control F Edward to, what's that dude's name? Shade Grey? I don't know. I'm going to guess. Don't tell me the dude's name in 50 Shades of Grey. I'm going to give 4 guesses. Let me know if I get this right. I'm not looking at chat. Number 1, Magnum. Is his name Magnum Grey? Okay. Second guess. The dude from 50 Shades of Grey, is his name Shadow Grey? I just feel like that's the kind of thing we'd see there. Number 3. Oh man, what else could his name be? I feel like this is kind of like a Colleen Hoover, like, you know, oh, he's got to have a name like Atlas. But it's not, because I know Colleen Hoover wouldn't have chosen Atlas if that was taken by 50 Shades of Grey. So I'm pivoting off of Atlas. Is his name Ulysses? Throwing it out there. That's number 3. 4, is that dude's name, is it a total bait and switch? Maybe he's not any cool name. Maybe he's just like a Kevin. Kevin's in chat. That's my guess. Christian Grey. Oh, okay. Sorry. Christian Grey. Okay. All right. We are on our last one. I do now remember that we are on. This is what I had before the next one. Let me do a quick little check. Okay. I did. Hey, all right. My challenge to you, dear friends. My challenge to you. I'm going to show 3 books over here. I'm going to show 3 books. If you do not know what they are about, I challenge you to not look them up and use your imagination to imagine they are as wild as maybe the covers might suggest. And using that knowledge, maybe if you feel so inclined, a 1-sentence synopsis of what that book might be about in the chat, if you want to try to get on the same page as someone else. But my challenge is for you to not look up the synopsis of these stories and instead follow your heart. What do you think they would, where do you think they would go? Let's see it. Everyone, I present to you Ice Planet Barbarians, The Dragon's Bride, and Ensnared, The Spider's Mate, book number 1. Pilot says, I know what these are. 69 says, wait, I know these. You probably know one of them. You probably know Ice Planet Barbarians. Do not look it up yet. You can look it up after. I want you to follow your heart for where these need to go. These are just modern fairy tales, essentially. They're basically just modern fairy tales. I'm imagining. I don't know what they're about. The covers... The covers just seem to pop. The covers just seem to pop. So, I need your help. Where do these go in our categories? Where would Ice Planet Barbarians, The Dragon's Bride, and Ensnared, The Spider's Mate go? Isabel says, reread Ice Planet Barbarians because they've seen a video on that. Recommend Dragon's Bride because I don't want to think about the spider. Dragon's Bride, read. Ice Planet Barbarians, recommend. Ensnared, retired. Retire all. Not an option, Katie. Not an option. Reread Ensnared, recommend Dragon's Bride. Oh, flipping everything around. So funny to me. All right, Millennium says, reread Dragon's Bride, recommend Ensnared. You know, I thought that Ensnared would be a clear-cut retire. I mean, look. Look at that. No, thank you. You know what? I think I have to make a executive decision and be the one with the guts to just retire Ensnared. And by that, I mean make an executive decision to put it in reread where it belongs. Where it belongs. Any questions? None? Good. Ice Planet Barbarians versus The Dragon's Bride. Honestly, put them both in retire. Give me Ensnared book number 2, Heart of Webs. I don't know what that one's. No. I'm just guessing. I think we're all on the same page. You know what? You're right. There we go. All right. We are done with this part of the live stream. Yes, thank you. Please, I will let you know next time that we are doing another reread, recommend, retire opening to the live stream. All right. With all that said, all that being said, oh, let's get ready for some productivity. All right. Look, you didn't want controversy. You shouldn't have called the king. No one called me. I just showed up. Retire that ranking. Retire Carson. I'm on reread. That's it. Kay says I'm gonna start calling you Spider Boy now. Please do not. Please don't. Hail to the king, baby. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. All right. Fun and games done. You know, I said, here's the hard thing. I said that, like, the reason I was doing that instead of a tier list was so that it wouldn't take like 30 minutes to do. And look at us now. Look at us now. Oh, hilarious. Last Watchman says he went on an impulse video essay about unfortunate events but gave absolutely no explanation for ensnared because none was needed. I'm only going to explain things that need explaining. I'm not going to waste my breath on the easiest decision I've had to make this year. And guess what? It's freaking November. Okay. Excuse me. Now, if you do want to look up those books, you'll be surprised to find out that Ice Planet Barbarians has like 146,000 reviews on Goodreads and like 17 sequels. Wild. And on top of that, instead of putting ensnared, I almost chose, there is like a wild number of, there's like a wild number of romance books involving the entire hockey team, including the ones I almost put on here. What was it called? Oh, dang. Oh, here it was. It was called, Hold on, let me cut the background music for this. Including Pucking Easy was one. And then also the next one was called Pucking the Team. Thank you. I did not make those up. Those are real. I had them on the dang PowerPoint slide. I took them off for Ensnared and Dragon's Bride. It just seemed too good. So, feel free to do your own research. All right. Let's get real. Right in the Zamboni. All right. There is no thanks. Also, I choose ignorancy. Ignorance is bliss. I feel you. All right. Let's shake the fun. Get all that fun energy. We're going to channel it to productive energy. We're going to have a good time writing. We've had our fun. Now it's time to say, like, all right, that was great. Carson, at it again with the fun streams. Now let's get like some time writing and we can say at the end of the night, we freaking did it. We had fun. We made progress on our story. It was a good night. How you guys feel about that? 69, I'm about to auto-mod you. You're gonna get auto-modded. All right. Did my recommendation for Clippy not come up? We do have some Clippy. 69 says, I got shadow banned the other night. Were you typing that whole story in a YouTube live chat? All right, we have some things we gotta do before everything starts. So the very first thing, as a reminder, Pro Writing Aid is sponsoring this live stream. Pro Writing Aid, thank you so much for sponsoring small creators. This is the editing tool that I use. I updated my tool. I was using a kind of older, updated version of Pro Writing Aid in the last stream. I've updated it since. It's because of Pro Writing Aid and their support for small creators. That means you don't have to see ads all the time. And that's big for me. I don't want to feel like you are getting a lesser experience because I have to try to do something like that. I use Pro Writing Aid with all their different reports to tighten up my story and get it even closer to that professional level. They have all these actionable reports from style to grammar to readability to repetition. I find that my rough draft needs a lot of help to get to a really good state, because when I'm writing initially, it's just get it all onto the page. If you want to try Pro Writing Aid, you can get 10% off. Link in the description. Use my writer code WritingTheory10. Love it. Thank you, Pro Writing Aid. Tomorrow, let me check my dates. Oh, Isabel, you missed a great bit. But now we're on to the productivity side of things. Tomorrow night at this time, just about at this time, I will be on the Writing Quest live stream. I will make sure that I post a link in the Discord, and I highly recommend you come hang out. We're gonna do a bunch of Q&A stuff. It's gonna be just as fun for all of, as what we're doing here, but with even more people. Writing Quest is being put together by a couple different people, one of those being Coral Sands, one of our very own members and an awesome person and someone who does live streams for writing. And they almost, at least in the live streams I've joined in the past, they are trying to also provide exposure for animals in need, ways to provide donations to local humane shelters, and even get some rabbits and dogs. Is rabbits the right word, or is it bunnies? Which one's the pet? Which one's the nanimal? There a difference. But yeah, I would love to see you guys over there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Just about this exact time, I'll post the link over there. We love us some Coral Sand. If you are getting serious about your story, let me bring you up to the big chat here. Come over here in the big chat. All right. If you're getting serious about your story, I do offer developmental editing and book coaching. Developmental editing is for anyone who gets to basically the end of their manuscript, and before they're trying to send it out and they're doing those last minute sort of touches. This is me reading the entire manuscript, breaking down your story in the same way that I like to break down stories in my videos for your story in a 2-hour meeting where we go over everything, all the notes that I have. I do visual graphics, I do plots and graphs. It is so much fun, and it leaves you with a ton of information that you can choose to apply or not. The next thing is book coaching. If developmental editing is for your manuscript when it's finished, book coaching is for when you are writing or planning, right? So I've already done a couple book coaching meetings. They are a blast. They're 1 hour. You pay before each meeting. If I'm there with you in the planning stage, we go over your entire beat sheet. We talk about different things about what your characters, your plot, your setting, what part of those things are being underutilized, what things can be improved on, what things are your story already showing strengths about that we can lean even further into that. And then as you actually start writing, we come back and do these additional hour-long meetings where I read everything you've written, make notes on a running Google Docs that you get to keep, and then we come in and we talk about the trajectory of your story. It is so much fun. So if you like my style of breaking down stories, check that out at writingtheory.com. There's a big red coaching link at the top of the page. You can fill out a form, submit a writing sample, all that kind of stuff. I will not coach you if I don't think that we can make something great together. So I'm not here just to try to sell you that idea of book coaching. I'm here to say I see your potential and I want to help you reach that potential. I promise you. Last thing here. I updated the subscriber and the super chat sounds in our live streams with my own guitar playing. They are very nice and soothing. And guess what? You can try them out today. Oh, wow. What a plug. What a plug. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, all that out of the way. All that out of the way. What is happening in the chat with these poor, sweet bunnies? Hares are different animals? Is that true? Hares are different than rabbit? Oh, hold up. Is this like a toad rabbit situation? Wait, not rabbit. Toad frog situation? I was thinking ribbit in my head. Is this like one's got a tail, one doesn't? Is that a thing? Hares versus rabbits. We're getting to the bottom of this. Hares bigger, longer ears. That's all I know. So if I see a big bunny, that's a hare. They're a hair bigger than bunnies. Got it. Lock it down. There's your mnemonic. Toads and rabbits are different animals. Yes, thank you, Justin. You know, I've really been struggling with that. I appreciate you keeping me on the straight and narrow. I think I can really work to internalize that part. Okay. So let me tell you what's happened in my story so far. Not like the synopsis, but like where I'm at in my drafting stage. And I would love to hear where you're at. And then we're going to throw 20 minutes on the timer and get some writing done. So here's the deal. I have very quickly found out, you can see my my word count at the bottom of the live, right down there. I'm at 6,286 words. Having a great time. One thing I like to point out when we start these live streams before I even write, because you may be in this kind of state, maybe not. I originally planned out and I was like, I'm going to write like 50,000 words. Like that's kind of like my goal here. I feel like I can pretty easily hit that myself with my own writing pace and the amount of time I have to write. What I have found out very quickly is my plot framework. I'm supposed to be at 6,000 words already in part 2 of my plot framework, and that I am like right here. It ain't gonna happen. And this is my reminder to you. My reminder to you that your plot framework is a guide. I am not going to adjust the way I want to tell my story, the way that story naturally comes to me, because this plot framework that I put together says something different. It says I should already be past this kind of thing. That plot framework I got online, to give a little shout out to, from this author, Zara Altair, who had a lot of things in their plot framework that I liked, and things I adjusted to better suit my story. And what that means is all of this plot framework stuff is just to help me know where I'm going. And so I'm going to make adjustments. I may say that, oh, this is supposed to take 10% of my story. I'm going to go back to like that 3-act structure where part 1, act 1 is 25% of your story. Feel free to make changes like that. This is all your own, your own progress, how you like to work. Which would mean if I go 25%, I think this is like, I would expect this to be like 12,500, which seems more on pace with what I want to say. What that also means is maybe it's not the pacing of the framework that's different, but maybe I'm going to end up writing 70,000 words, which still would be too short. I mean, you kind of get what I'm saying. So my daily reminder for you to remember that, give yourself room to breathe, give yourself room to adjust. That is important. You should definitely do it. If you get stuck, I've seen already some people talking about writer's block. You are in, hold on. This is important. Where's the, look at me. You are in the proto draft stage, and you've heard me say it time and time again. The number one most important thing about the proto draft is get your story down, right? That means when you get writer's block, you know where your story is supposed to go. Skip ahead a little bit, pick up at that next story point where you know you're going to be eventually anyways, and keep writing. You're going to be editing your story 5, 6, 7 times, maybe more. The most important thing here, get to the end. Remember, think outside the bun. Is that the Taco Bell one? They wouldn't say think outside the box. That's too on the nose. Think outside the bun. Because we got some weird Taco Bell stuff happening in chat. All right, all of that being said, it is time to write. So I'm going to put 20 minutes on the clock. I'm going to turn that lo-fi music up. I'm going to put my head down, turn my mic off, and I'm going to write. Let's be productive. You got this. See you guys on the other side. With that, the first sprint is done. It's that easy. It's that easy to be productive. That's a good feeling, I'm telling you. See, we're at 6,939. 6,039. 200 from Just Guy, Millennium Storyteller, 459, 259. Isabel, 785 words. Let's go. Aterial, 500 words. Look at that. Look at that. That is awesome. Good work, everyone. Good work. Good freaking work. Got a really good spot. I hit a really good spot in the story. Man, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. I find in my stories, I tend to want to write. Katie got 152 words. Love it. Even if you get distracted, that's progress. I enjoy writing shorter, fun scenes. And I just did that with one of my scenes over here. It's just about 500 words. But I'm really trying to build really good bromance. Really good friendship between two characters. Kira had 200 something words, kind of bounced around. Margot just under 27,000, not all during the live stream, but 10,000 words. Margot's been pushing. Good job. That's awesome. Kay says, I'm having trouble deciding what story beats are in each chapter. I think that's pretty normal. Pretty normal thing to be working with. Theory got 400. Nice. That is awesome. What story beats are in each chapter? This also goes back to the idea of like, how big should a chapter be? Because if you're going for like the 2,000 word kind of approach, that's not a ton of room to hit a bunch of different story beats, right? So a lot of the stories that you might read, if you're like the Court of Thorns and Roses, are in those bite-sized chapter, and every chapter has like, here's the thing we accomplished. And that's like a really digestible way to write and to read. I find myself that like in this story, here's one of the things, I don't know if you happen to know this or not, but in Scrivener is, let me pull it up over here. One of the many different kind of views you can get, if I click on my manuscript, is a breakdown of all of these different things in my manuscript, which is a really great way. If I go up here and I add in a total word count, really good way for me to say that if I consider this Arrival to be one big chapter, then this is a 5,570 word chapter. And you know what? When I wrote that, it kind of naturally felt like this is where it should start and this is where it should end. Maybe you could break it all up into smaller bits like 2,000, 1,100, 1,500, 700, or have this all be just like, this is the beginning of the story, right? In my case, that first chapter, or at least how I've organized it, is my main character getting off the train in Whittier, the people that he meets, the conversations that he has, meeting the love interest, raising a question, and then going to bed that night. And so in that case, it means like if I was to break that story up, we talked about the different kinds of chapters in the live stream, right? The idea of stylized chapters versus functional. Like functionally, I have like a couple little time skips in those little breaks here, but this is all just like a couple hours, 5, 6, 7 hours of the day. So it was kind of like locked in there. And I'm okay with that. I'm not really trying to adjust my natural storytelling to be like, this needs to be 2,000 words. So play around with it. See how it feels for you. Isabel, wait, I've been meaning to ask. I saw it in the chat. I did not forget you. But is the Begich, that the Begich Towers are named after related to the current politician Nick Begich? That's a great question. It is in the family, the Begich family. I can't remember the years. I think it was like 70s or 80s, and you can fact check this on Wikipedia. But there was I guess an ancestor of the current Nick Begich, who was also a politician in Alaska, flying along with maybe like a Louisianian, a senator from Louisiana, senator governor, I always get it mixed up. another politician, and their plane went down between Anchorage and Fairbanks. So that tower was named in sort of recognition of that same family of politicians. They still haven't found the plane. It didn't have one of those black boxes on it. My friend's been to that spot, I think. Look, Whittier is crazy. I don't know, Isabel, I don't know if you were here. I accidentally ended up just totally roasting Whittier in the middle of my story. Completely unintentional. Completely unintentional. But I said something like, a lot of places, like, the pictures don't do that place justice. And here's like examples of all the different kinds of places that our character had been, where like they had seen pictures and they traveled to, and then it was still that much more majestic in person. And then that whole thing ends with the pictures did Whittier, Alaska a little too much justice. And I was like, uh-oh. It was not planned. I like Whittier, Alaska. I'm not calling them out. I just need that vibe in the story. It's important to the story. Don't tell Whittier. Don't tell Whittier. Katie says, I'm trying the free trial of Scrivener. I think it might be helpful for me to upload my manuscript so I can use the cards. Katie, I am a huge fan of Scrivener. I'll go ahead and tell you that there's always going to be a couple different ways to look at things. So like the cards that you saw here, if I switch it back over, in the top, kind of like top middle of the Ethereals, as I'm calling Whittier right now. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. You can have note cards, you can have outlines. There's all this reporting information you can get from this. This also has information you can modify to keep track of what's in the first draft state versus what's been revised, what's in progress, what's to do. There's a ton of different things here. I love Scrivener. Hit me with your... I almost said, not Scrivener. I almost merged Scrivener and Whittier to Squiddier. Hit me with your Squiddier questions in chat if they come up. I hope you end up liking it. There is a little bit of a learning curve. Jeff Long in chat says, Hale Boggs was the LA representative on that plane. Hello, Jeff. Hello. That is my father. Oh, writing theory dad in the chat now. Oh man, I'm confused how to use Scrivener. I need a tutorial or something. I thought about putting together something like that. The thing is, like, with Scrivener, even the most basic level of the functionality that it has is really good. Is really good. So in the terms of like organizing your story, having your manuscript, which is what will eventually be like when you hit the button to put it into a book, be everything in the manuscript. Each file, each folder could be how you break up your different chapters. And then everything else is just organizing your notes. And so the most basic level functionality, which is kind of what I use it as, is just organizing everything. And then you write your story in the manuscript. There may even be... where is... Who was saying that? Isabel? Talking about the Scrivener trial? Or Katie? Katie. There may even be an import function. You should Google that. It may be able to take your if you're writing somewhere else, and put it in there. Isabella says, I also use Scrivener, and it's so helpful, great for breaking things up into tiny pieces and seeing where everything is at. That is exactly it. That is exactly it. All right. It also is, I mean, I could talk all day about Scrivener. I won't bore you to tears. I hope you end up liking it. I think it's definitely worth investing in the right tools for the job. And Microsoft Word and Google Docs are really great at a couple things, but Scrivener has a much higher ceiling than that. I always try to put this out there. I'm going to say it here. I always try to put it out here. There are some things Scrivener is not good at. I'll say them right here. Number one, if you need to do some collaboration, it is, of course, not nearly as easy as like Google Docs to be able to say like, hey, hop into my story and leave some comments and let me know. Not happening. Scrivener is not the tool for that. Now, you could try to do things. You could export it out as docx, upload it into Google Docs, but that's not the thing. Corby says between Scrivener and Word with Pro Writing Aid, it covers all the things you need to do. That's exactly how I feel. Another thing that Scrivener is not good at. Another thing Scrivener is not good at is going to be working on multiple machines. Unless you have some weird, crazy shared setup that you've somehow finagled into doing this, Scrivener on this machine is its own local thing and will just be its own local. Some people say you can have your story backed up into Google Drive. Maybe you could then download it off Google Drive, open it up in another Scrivener instance, but it's not a cloud-based tool like something like NovelPad might be, which is someone we've partnered with in the past. So those are the two main things. The two main things that Scrivener does not excel at that you might need that other products do. So all that being out there, there you go. Also, I'm seeing, Thick69 saying you can keep project files on a USB stick as long as the second machine has Scrivener installed. Yes, that's true. As long as it's also not Scrivener in a different environment. So like I have Scrivener on a Windows and a Mac, and they are not compatible. Not compatible. So those are just things to keep in mind. Just things to keep in mind. So I like to put that out there. Yeah. Windows and Mac do some very different like file storage formats. And it's not a one-to-one sort of thing. Like the other day, I was actually moving files from Blender in my on my computer in the other room where I was doing all this 3D stuff to do some video editing. And I went through a couple different big hard drives that I have to try to move the files. But there are file formats that work with Windows that don't work with Mac. And so it's incompatible. So like I actually had to take my camera out of this room and use it as just an external hard drive to move the files because that camera works on both of these. So like there's little things, like little tech things, they always come up, stuff like that. Cool. All right, I just wanted to put that out there. I love Scrivener. I've been using it for maybe like 7 years now. I've got stories that are in the 10,000 words. I've got stories that are in 70,000 words with all kinds of research. You can embed web pages and download them in here. So like, for example, that plot framework that I used, I think this is a cool feature. This mystery plot framework, I created, if you right click on something and you go to add, I created a new web page. And I pasted in the URL address for that web page and it sticks it in here as like a downloaded web page. And now I probably wouldn't want to go trying to click on a bunch of different links. Like I could technically do that, but even if you were to take this thing offline, go right at the coffee shop and they don't have Wi-Fi, you can still come over here and visit this mystery plot structure as a web page without internet. So that's a pretty big thing. Can you take notes on the downloaded web page? So this sounds to me like you're trying to mix like a Google Docs and a Scrivener kind of situation. I wouldn't be confident in it. Because what I think happens is it downloads the HTML of that file onto your machine so that you can then take it offline and still be able to view it if you don't have internet. I wouldn't be totally confident it would still be connecting out from your machine to the rest of the world, especially if you're doing something like a Google Doc kind of thing. So if that's the question you're asking, I would say that might be asking a little too much. Corby writes in Word, backs it up in Scrivener along with all notes and research. Love it. I really like the writing experience in Scrivener. So like there's like the classic editor that you see here. On the right side, you have things like a synopsis and some notes, and I use those. When you're compiling your story from editing, you can say, like append the notes at the top of the page before this chapter begins, and then when you print it all off, you can like do all your things. Katie says, can you like draw and highlight on the files you put into Scrivener? I have never explored that. Jeez, Justin, been up since 4 a.m. Justin, thanks for joining us. Glad you were here. We had a lot of fun. Call it a night. 4 a.m. is too early. All right. But yeah, Scrivener, you know, what I'd like to do, here's one cool thing that I think is just underutilized. And I think I want to be the change I want to see in the world. Random writer, hello. I want to be the change I want to see in the world. Something Scrivener allows you to do is to download a template. When you go to make a new file in Scrivener, it can come with some things already attached in the brand new project. Things like character sheets. I would love to really put the effort into making my own template to then share with everyone so you can use it in your own projects. It's kind of hard to get that stuff online. You can Google like Scrivener templates, but a lot of what you get are people who have made interesting Scrivener templates, but then they want you to like sign up for their newsletter to get it and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't like doing that very often. So it's really got to be worth it to me. That being said, you can sign up for my newsletter at writingtheory.com and get all kinds of cool little notifications when I do big things. Got him. Oh, so good. Okay. Any other last questions before we tackle the next productivity thing? Isabel says, I'm low-key allergic to templates. But I'd be interested in seeing a writing theory template. Yeah, I mean, I'd go for it. Pilot Alex Washington says, I'm low-key excited to read this book, Careless Gray Hills. Gray? Here's the thing. I learned from our user, Gray, in the Discord, one of the fellow mods. In America, we spell it Gray. And you can think America, A, and European, E. So for me, it's Gray, Hills. I agree with Ethereal. EY is the superior spelling. Agreed. Now the template, if we do some sort of Scrivener template, I'd probably want to ask everyone what kind of things they do to prepare for their story and then find a way to work that in here. But the template is like all the research files, the character files, the location files, and then you can do things like, here is a template. Inside the template, every time you make a character, here's the character sheet with all the details you're supposed to fill out. I personally don't use character sheets, so that's not important to me, but I'd be interested in stuff like that. All right. I think it is about time to do some productivity, to do some writing. It is time. It looks like pretty much everyone likes Grey. I'm with ya. You know what? To me, this just says I need to have 2 printings for localization. Really expand, diversify the market. You know what I mean? All right. I am going to write. If you feel the need to continue to discuss American versus European spelling of words, feel free. I'm going to put on some lo-fi music, turn off the mic. I'm going to write. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. Isabel is sprinting in the Discord. Feel free to join. The sprints on there are a lot of fun. Just a way to keep track of your words and just celebrate when you make those kind of accomplishments. You guys. All right. Music going up. Mic going off. See ya in 20 minutes. Thank you for subscribing. You scared me. All right, 6 more minutes of riding. right. Orby, goodbye. Thank you for joining us. Had a great time. Of course, we needed your input on all of those reread, recommend, retire categories. Valued opinion right there. Valued opinion. Thanks for joining us while you could. That's the end of our second writing sprint and our last one today. Which means we got, what 40 something minutes of writing down. I barely got 400 words in, Millennium Storyteller says. Barely 400? That sounds pretty good. I got halfway, I was doing my writing. I was kind of like feeling the story out. I'm at 7,444. I got distracted because I added a bit of detail about this location. When you look through this window, here's what you can see. And I was like, you know what? We're going to need to be back here to see and observe some kind of crime being committed at a later point. So I had to go find, are there any other places where I've done that, and make notes about them. All sneaky. Lots of words in chat. Barely got 400, 203, but I finished my scene. 59, that's great. 621 more. Dang, Isabel, good job. Kiara says 300. Katie says 400 is better than 0, confirmed. Millennium Storyteller's at 9,000 words. Margot just cleared 28,000, and their brain is mush after writing so much. 9,000 in total, Kiera. Nice. Isabel says, Margot, have you done anything else today? When you write that many words, that's kind of all you do. My best, I was able to put down, I think it was 9,000 words in a day. And it was like the very end of Starlight Farm. So it was like the big climax plus the resolution. So it was like I got to get all this down. I'm on like the home stretch. But that takes hours, hours. Ethereal 500 done. Nice, let's go. Carcelo says they got a bunch of world building done. Probably try to incorporate dialogue later. That's progress. And more importantly, that's progress while having fun. Hope you guys liked the live stream today. It was fun. I'm glad you liked our little game. I was trying to think of something fun to do for the live stream, and I was like, you know what? Tier list, not quite feeling it. Let's make our own fun. And that we did. All right, some closing stream things. Thank you to Pro Writing Aid for sponsoring the live stream. Pro Writing Aid is what I use to edit my stories. They have all these great actionable reports so that after I've written, I can go back and make sure that everything comes out nice and tidy. Once you get past all this proto drafting stuff and you get to the editing, things slow down. And Pro Writing Aid is what, for me, helps the editing stage go by quickly. I can edit better and faster, and that's important because editing can get in your head. You know what I mean? When you get to the editing stage of your stories, Pro Writing Aid would be a great thing to pick up a free trial for and see if you like it. You can get 10% off with Writing Theory 10 at checkout. You know how it goes. Tomorrow I will be on Writing Quest. I would love to see you there. You know how fun these live streams are. It would mean a lot to me if you posted your progress in the Discord, celebrated your productivity today, and if you had a really good time, let people know. The more people we get in the Discord, the better. I think that's all I got for the closing of the stream. Tomorrow, Writing Quest. I would love to see you there and support not just me, which is I'm always grateful for, but supporting some of our fellow users and their own work. That is awesome. I will post a link, and I'm sure Coral Sands at some point will also post a link in the Discord. It'll be around this exact same time slot that we've been doing here, and I will hopefully see you there. Thank you everyone for joining. This was so much fun. Can't wait for the next one. If you happen to be free tomorrow, If you happen to be free tomorrow, I'm doing the European stream, which is from 11 to 1 Central Time. And so, hey, got nothing else to do. Come hang out. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of the night. Proud of you for putting in the work. I had a lot of fun. And I'll catch you guys next time. See you on Friday.